Today we're looking at the native iPhone camera app versus the FiLMiC Pro app. Which one should you use? Since the iPhone 11's release, I've had a lot of questions about the native video camera app and how it compares to third-party apps, and in particular FiLMiC Pro. And so I'm putting together a series of comparison videos, and this one looks at stabilization. And just a warning, these will be tech-driven, geeky, film nerd type videos. So I'm using the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the native video camera, and then I'm comparing it to the third-party video camera app called FiLMiC Pro. And every comparison in this video will be using the ultra-wide lens. And first up here is the iPhone 11 native camera. And this is actually really smooth. This is handheld, no gimbal. And now FiLMiC Pro. Not nearly as smooth as the native camera. Both these are using the built-in electronic image stabilization within each app. And in this comparison, the native camera app is the clear winner. And so in this next comparison, I shot walking down some stairs at a hotel. This is the native camera app. And it's actually a little bouncier than I expected it would be. Has a very handheld look to it. And now FiLMiC Pro, and a little bit surprisingly, it appears to perform better in this comparison. I do think I walked a little bit slower here, but just slightly, so that shouldn't have made too much of a difference. And here's the side-by-side. I'm walking fairly normally, trying to keep it balanced, trying to keep it smooth, but I also didn't want to fall down the stairs here. But I thought this was interesting. I call FiLMiC Pro the winner on this comparison. All right, outside on a sidewalk, and this is the native camera, and this is very smooth. This looks like a gimbal shot. I find the side-to-side motion looks really good with the native camera app and no gimbal. A few bumps on that turn, but remember this is handheld, so this looks really good. And now FiLMiC Pro. It's smooth for being handheld, but not nearly as smooth as the native camera app here. And side by side. With the native camera app, I was a little bit closer to the wall. In this comparison, I go with the native camera app. It is the clear winner. All right, and one more comparison here in an interior hallway. And this is the native camera app. And it's a little bit bouncy. These long, straight-on shots don't do as well. Still look good, don't get me wrong. Remember, this is handheld, no gimbal, but you definitely get more motion, a little bit of a swimming motion here. And here's FiLMiC Pro. This looks very similar to the native camera app. A little bit up, down, a little bit of swimming, but overall, considering it's handheld, pretty solid. And here's a quick behind the scenes look. And now side by side. In this comparison, they look very similar to me. It's hard to pick a winner on this one. I'm gonna call it a draw. But here's one thing cool you can do with FiLMiC Pro, and that is you can turn the stabilization off. This is a screen recording, and right now the stabilization is turned on. If I go in here and turn the stabilization off, then I have the same shot, but it's not zoomed in anymore. You get about 20% or so more image, and the image quality will be a little bit sharper. And so just to show it again, here is stabilization on, and now off. You get a little more field of view, a little wider shot. And so here's the same shot with stabilization turned off, no stabilization here. And this is a more traditional handheld shot. This could be cool depending on the project, especially a movie. Since there's no optical image stabilization on this lens, there's no OIS, you can do traditional handheld without getting all the jittery, jello-y stuff you get with OIS. But let's say you want that wide shot, only smooth. So I'll put it on a gimbal here. This is on the FiLMiC Vlog Pocket. And this looks really good. This definitely looks better than having the electronic image stabilization turned on. But now let's turn that on and use a gimbal. This is normally the way I shoot with gimbals. I typically leave the image stabilization turned on in the app. And this is very smooth, has a floating Steadicam feel to it. And another quick behind the scenes shot here. And then side by side, this is FiLMiC Pro with stabilization turned off on the left and stabilization on the right. And both using the FiLMiC Vlog Pocket gimbal. Both of these work pretty nicely. And so one more shot here, and this is the native iPhone camera app, now on the FiLMiC Vlog Pocket gimbal. And no surprise here, it looks very smooth, looks really good. Again, much smoother than just handheld. So in some situations, you can definitely go without a gimbal. They can definitely still be necessary depending on what you're shooting. And so one last thing I wanted to show here is if you use FiLMiC Pro, you can still stabilize this in post-production. This is the original shot. And now here's the same shot post-stabilized using Warp Stabilizer in Adobe Premiere Pro. Now this looks almost identical to the native camera. And speaking of the native camera, here's that shot as a comparison. And now back out to the sidewalk. Here's the original FiLMiC Pro shot. A little bit shaky, a little bouncy, but it is handheld, so not too bad. But now post-stabilized with Warp Stabilizer, and looks really good. Looks like you're on a gimbal. And again, looks very similar to the native camera app. And as a reminder, here is the native camera app, the same shot. So it's nice to know that in some situations you can shoot handheld and get gimbal-like performance using the native camera app or a third-party app. Remember too, beyond the ability to shoot log or flat with FiLMiC Pro, you can also shoot with higher bit rates. That alone is really pretty much worth it. And then of course you have full manual control. You can set your shutter, your ISO, your white balance, etc. With the native app you can only lock it, you can't set it. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments what you like to use. To learn more about smartphone video and mobile filmmaking, be sure to check out the other videos on our channel, or consider enrolling in one of our online courses. Master the FiLMiC Pro app and learn about smartphone video and cinematography. And we also have a filmmaking podcast. Links are in the description. Look for other comparisons in this series, and also a short travel film I did using only the ultra-wide lens and the native camera app. Again, both these apps are great. Use it however you want to use it, but there are differences, so depending on what you're shooting, just use the best app for the job. This is Blake Calhoun. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.